As you are all aware, there is an ongoing fight in this country over whether children should be permitted to have gender affirming care through treatments such as hormone therapies, puberty blocking medication, and sex change surgeries. Now, to most of us, we find that those who vehemently advocate that children under 18, and even those as young as 2 to 3 years old, are smart enough to decide their need for a biologically life changing treatment like these are just insane. After all, these same people will not allow their own children to make lesser impacting life decisions, such as what they choose to eat, because they know that their children are just not aware of anything beyond what it is that they are experiencing emotionally. They do this because they know that their children are simply not capable of understanding what is good for them. So they maintain the majority control of their diets. And it's not just with diets that they do this. They also control the majority decisions over their children concerning curfews, clothing choices, dating, school expectations, drinking and drug use, and driving privileges, as but other examples. Yet, although by such parental actions, these people openly admit that children are not knowledgeably and emotionally mature enough to be trusted with their feelings about such things, they then insanely advocate that these same children are fully, knowingly, and emotionally mature enough to make life altering choices concerning gender transition. Now, what is extraordinarily crazy is that this insanity is fully embraced and advocated by licensed medical professionals and facilities, as well as championed by Democrat liberal politicians, all of whom are simply beyond the realm of rational thinking, whereby they must have some type of depraved psychological need to feel self exalted as a social justice warrior. Apparently, for some reason, these people must feel as if something is so desperately lacking within their own sense of self worth that they happily cast away all logic and common sense in this just to feel personally fulfilled by what they receive, and they're advocating for this insanity. So, as credible research is being brought to light concerning the true lack of evidence and the proclaimed benefit of these treatments on children, more and more countries are restricting or banning these procedures on children so to embrace the necessary protection of children. Because of this, lawmakers, mostly Republican, that fight against this insanity in our own country are bringing about necessary change to protect children. In fact, these are the states that have enacted laws restricting or banning gender affirming care on minors because they are following the established medical research and want to protect children. And yes, clearly these are states that have Republican leadership that focuses on factual evidence over fantasy. Now, the problem is that those in power, primarily the Biden administration, continually goes after those who oppose their attempts to pander to the LGBTQ XYZ community. Which leads us to this case of a Texas doctor who has been indicted by the Biden DOJ for exposing how doctors at Texas Children's Hospital in Houston have been secretly providing sex alteration hormones and surgeries to minors in violation of Texas state law. So let's get into this article in the Dallas Express, written by senior reporter Patrick Hoff, dated June 7, 2024, with the headline being Biden DOJ indicts Texas doctor who exposed child mutilations. The Biden administration indicted the whistleblower who exposed how doctors at Texas Children's Hospital in Houston secretly provided sex alteration surgeries and transgender hormones to minors. Dr. Ethan Haim, now a general surgeon in the Dallas area, anonymously leaked documents last year to journalist Christopher Rufo that proved the Children's Hospital lied when it promised to dissolve its transgender program. So, first off, let me say that this is the level of insanity that these liberal medical professionals and facilities hold to. That despite the abundant medical research now available, which reveals that the actual evidence of the long term benefits of these procedures on children are just too low to trust in at this time, both as a hospital and as doctors who took a pledge to quote unquote do no harm, they are yet willing to violate the law to continue procedures on patients that the majority of their profession deem as potentially harmful. On this doctor's part, the problem is that although he knew that what this hospital was doing was both wrong and illegal, he did not move forward with the courage to expose this in the right way. What he should have done was take his evidence to the state's district attorney's office or to his state government leadership. Now, because he apparently did not want to have to face the consequences for doing the right thing, he instead leaked his evidence anonymously to a journalist. And look, it is hard to find fault in him for that because we've all seen how these liberal ideologues relentlessly attack whomever is exposed as standing against their agenda. Still, if we continue to cower in fear of these lunatics whenever we are faced with having to do the right thing, then we only continue to empower them, and that needs to stop. Haim went public with this story in January when he announced the Department of Justice had launched an investigation into his actions. The agency indicted him on 4 felony counts related to his alleged violation of medical record laws. Now, although Dr. Haim at first anonymously exposed what the hospital was doing because clearly he did not want to suffer the repercussions he knew that he would receive for doing so, going public with it now that the DOJ is after him is really what he has to do to garner the necessary support that he needs from the public. So that the DOJ would have to contend with the knowledge that what it does in its attack on him will be seen by the masses. Basically, ensuring that they understand that their actions in this case will be scrutinized as to its legality. But is it even a surprise to anyone that the Biden DOJ got involved? Because as we've all seen over and over again, anyone who challenges the liberal LGBTQ ideology that the Biden administration both promotes and defends can expect the DOJ to attack them. Now, Rufo, who is the journalist who broke the news of the indictment on Thursday in City Journal, claimed the documents provided by Haim redacted private information. I can confirm that nothing in the information provided to me identified any individual. All the documents were, in fact, carefully redacted, Rufo wrote. So here we have the journalist who broke the story attesting that there were no violations of HIPAA privacy laws by Dr. Haim when he provided him with the information. The article goes on to say that Haim's legal team previously told the Dallas Express that the lead prosecutor of the investigation, Assistant U.S. Attorney Tina Ansari of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Texas, lied about the allegedly leaked personal information, which in my opinion, we often see as the typical modus operandi of the DOJ. Neither the DOJ nor Ansari's office responded to a request for comment. And of course not, because hiding evidence and their motives seem to be the typical DOJ operating procedure whenever they are exposed for their abuse of power. Haim's legal team was reportedly not giving precise details from the DOJ about the felony charges. And why not? Doesn't the law require that a person be informed of what it is that he is being accused of? Of course it does, except it seems when it is the Biden DOJ attacking people for standing against its liberal agenda. The article goes on. The documents leaked by Haim revealed that Texas Children's Hospital, the largest children's hospital in the country, provided hormone inhibitors to children as young as 11 years old. Remember, this is a children's hospital, and these are licensed physicians that are supposed to ensure the health and well-being of children by heeding the overwhelming medical research evidence that is available to them. Yet in their insane obsession to further the cause of LGBTQ ideology and their own psychotic need to be seen as social justice warriors, they choose to not only violate the law, but knowingly disregard the abundant research that has led to more and more countries restricting hormone treatments, puberty blockers, and sex change surgeries because of the harm it not only could, but oftentimes does cause children. Interestingly enough, some of these countries that have restricted gender affirming care to minors due to this research are more liberal and LGBTQ supportive than the United States is. So, if they have realized the need to restrict these procedures on children, what should that say to the medical community of this country? But here is how uncaring of citizens' rights these government activists can be. As Haim's lawyer said Ansari, again, the U.S. attorney who began the investigation into Dr. Haim, admitted in a letter that she did not review evidence about the leaks before launching an investigation. So, because no one seems to be permitted to expose anything that opposes the liberal ideology the Democrats support and protect, this assistant U.S. attorney, Tina Ansari, did not feel the need to even look into the facts of the case before deciding if an investigation was legally warranted. She simply decided that because he exposed illegal activity by liberals that potentially harms children, facts did not matter and he should be investigated. The article goes on and says that the lawyers alleged Asari's letter threatened Haim's wife when it mentioned her pending federal background check related to her becoming an assistant U.S. attorney in Texas herself. Ansari took issue with Haim's wife advising him to decline an interview when federal agents came to his house. So basically, screw a person's constitutional rights because this assistant U.S. attorney, Tina Ansari, who again did not review any evidence about the case, did not like that Dr. Haim's wife correctly advised him of his rights under the law. This is probably why she allegedly threatened Dr. Haim's wife with what I can only assume is a failed background check, which would prevent her from becoming a U.S. attorney herself. This is how crazy our judicial system has become under the Biden administration. No longer does a government U.S. attorney seemingly have to actually evaluate available evidence as the basis by which they bring about an indictment. Because from what we've just been told and how this U.S. attorney, Tina Ansari, lied about having seen real evidence of this doctor's violation of HIPAA laws, and of how apparently neither did the DOJ, it's clear that even though the journalists provided proof that no HIPAA violation occurred, they indicted him anyways. So now it seems that all that matters for the DOJ to find the means to prosecute you is if you should expose them for illegally operating within their obsessive liberal bias and, such as in this case, within their criminal actions. More and more, this country's judicial system is being overrun by these Biden supported, crazy liberal social justice warriors who only care about punishing those who stand against their political LGBTQ agenda and not for true justice. This kind of situation with Dr. Haim should never happen. Because if a doctor or politician wanting to protect children, according to what medical research evidence reveals, has to worry about being indicted by the Biden DOJ, then how corrupt is the judicial system of this country? The worst thing I believe can happen to law abiding citizens of any country is the corruption of their judicial system, whereby they can no longer trust that true justice would be served. In 2023, only 7.6% of people in the United States said that they align themselves with the LGBTQ community. However, because of Democratic politicians pandering to them because they want their votes, this small percentage of citizens have received the power to bias much of our country's judicial system to their cause. More and more, these liberal activists are protected by the judicial system from having to face accountability for doing things that you or I would easily be arrested for if we were to do. Sadly, in this current level of insanity, this hospital that violated the law and potentially harmed children isn't what many of these liberals are upset about. Rather, it is this doctor that stood up to protect minors who is the bad guy. With what we're seeing happening within much of our judicial system today, I can only say, God help any one of us if we, like this doctor, ever stood up for what is right. So feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments and be sure to punch that like button if you agree. Also, thank you very much if you already have. But if you haven't, would you hit that subscribe button, as that would be a great help to me. And I can't tell you just how much I would appreciate your support. So, hey, as always, I just like to say God bless you and thanks for taking the time to listen. Until next time.